Hey guys, today we're looking at a early 2000s Deagostini release from the Combat Tanks collection. This particular model is a diecast model, and it is a M4 Sherman A3 variant from the 756 Tank Battalion, 5th Army, France, 1945, as it says there in the bottom of the display case. These particular models, as I say, were part of a periodical release by Deagostini, but they've also been seen and are still readily available from various other suppliers and vendors, eBay and so on and so forth, online. I've seen them released under the names of Altea and Atlas Editions and a few other things, with only minor variances in possibly the markings or that. Now that particular one does have a larger, kind of stubbier, thicker barrel than your normal Sherman 75mm. This particular one is a 105mm gun, which would be kind of a howitzer battalion support weapon as such. So depending on your battalion makeup, you might have had a few of those in it as well. Now what I'll do is I'll just take this particular one out of the case, because the reflection there is a little bit much. So as you can see, the plastic box top or case top just lifts off. They would have been sellotaped on here at either ends, just for a little bit of security when in transit. But that's basically what you'd have there. The model is mounted on this standard base plate. All the models in the range came with this particular base plate, and then you just, if you wanted to release it, you just had to unscrew these rather awkward little guys here. I use an Allen key, or sometimes I just broke it off, but or use the pliers. So it is easy to get them off, but I haven't taken them all off yet because well, I just haven't required them. I just got them at the time. But this is basically a nice little solid kit. What I'll do is I'll just remove this particular one and replace it with one which I have taken off of this, because that one is still affixed to the base plate, as you can see. But there you go. It's a nice little little model, I must say. Just a little, if we can get the camera to get a little bit in closer there, maybe, just to have a better look. Detail is lovely on it, I must say. I mean, to be honest with you, if you were putting together a unit of these or so, you could easily replace the gun barrel with something a little bit narrower and more in keeping with the 75mm if you wanted to. Detail is pretty good, as you can see there. It's basic, it's a Sherman. It's not going to do a whole lot else than what Shermans did. The tracks are kind of a vinyl type there. I actually would recommend that you glue these in position. I had done so on one of the other ones, but I didn't do it on that one, apparently. The markings are nice and clear. You know, the tools and bits and pieces are well represented, and you have your 50 caliber air defense machine gun there, which of course could be used in an anti-infantry perspective as well. On is that a pintle mount it was called, if I remember correctly. Here's a little aerial there as well, and away you go. The turrets are removable. You just twist it aside and it pops up. Detail, as I say, isn't too bad. I think they look quite nice. So lovely for a static display, or maybe someone who is trying to put a few Sherman units together and doesn't want to have to be building a load of Shermans for wargaming purposes, or perhaps someone who just maybe can't do as much with the old fingers and eyesight as they used to be able to at one point. So nice if you still like to collect these things. Size-wise, it is a 1/7/2 scale kit, or model, should I say. I keep saying kit, just so used to it. But these they match in fairly well with any of the Airfix Shermans I have, or any of the Matchbox, what are the M4A2 or whatever it was, with the 76mm gun, and any other Shermans I've used. As I say, it is a 105mm gun barrel, so it does look a little bit thicker than and a little bit stubbier in some sense than some of the other models that are out there. But of course, you could easily, as I say, remove that if you wanted to put a smaller one in there, a narrower one. But a nice little kit. I mean, the Sherman is a very iconic vehicle, as we know, and turns up on a lot of battlefields in wargaming scenarios. The one thing I will say about these is just make sure that the wheels are quite nicely fixed on there, because these are quite old. As I say, they must they're at least 10 to 15 years old, perhaps even older in some cases. So just double check that the glue hasn't dried out, because these were just done in a factory somewhere and wouldn't have had the same level of care and attention perhaps as a modeler might do to an individual model as he or she goes along assembling it. So just a little double check to to make sure that everything is fairly well held in position. I did have one that the 50 cal fell off, but just a little drop of glue and away we went, no problem at all. But I say the detail is lovely. We have the light guards and bits and pieces there and there. It's like convoy lights, whatever they're called. A little bit of extra track at the back here also as well. And the markings down there also on a little tow hook. Detail on the tracks is quite nice. Really, you couldn't fault it. I mean, and there's also a little bit of weight to these as well. I'm not quite sure how much that weighs. I'd say maybe, I'm thinking maybe 60 grams thereabouts, give or take. I'm not going to weigh it. But so from that perspective, on a war games table, it won't move around unassisted. So from that perspective, kind of handy from that point of view. But a lovely little model. I really like them, to be honest with you. As I say, I only have 3 of these, so from that perspective, they actually will be operating as support, as our intended roles, artillery support for some of my Sherman battalions in rapid fire. So, as I say, I'm getting back to the wargaming and the modelling after having a hiatus for quite a while. So we're kind of getting through all the stash in the attic, and that's what's providing us with fodder for these little videos. And I'm just waiting for paints and bits and pieces to arrive for some kits where we have kind of semi-assembled at the moment. So that's why we're looking at these die-cast models, which, to be fair, I'd actually forgotten I had. I just discovered them in the attic the other day at the bottom of the stash. So that's why we're working through these. Anyway, look, we'll be back with another 1 or 2 of these kind of things over the next few videos. So if you'd like and subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. And as I say, these are readily available at the moment. Just Google Diecast Sherman or Diecast Tank 172, or as I say, use the brand names like Deagostini, Altea, any of those guys, and you'll find one if you're so looking for one. And I'd recommend them, to be honest with you. They're a nice little model, just from a static display perspective, or for whatever purpose you choose. Anyway, we will be back again fairly soon, so like and subscribe, please, if you would be so kind, and we'd appreciate that. And we'll see you in our next little installment. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.